I was relieved and proud when my son came out as gay, but when my wife couldn't handle it and tried to kick him out, I sent her packing instead. My 16-year-old son recently came out to me and my wife. I'm 39, and she's 37. And unfortunately my wife took it extremely badly. Basically here's how things happened. Wednesday, when I came home from work my son said he had something to tell me. He was obviously fidgety about something, and after a bit of rambling he eventually told me he was gay. To be honest, I already knew. He's a good kid and pretty damn smart, but I'm a programmer and therefore the computer guy. I'm the one that everyone calls to fix their computers and laptops. So without drawing a picture, I already knew he was gay. So when he finally came out to me, I was actually kind of relieved. He and I have always had a good relationship but he never told me and I was kind of wondering if maybe we didn't have such a good relationship. In any case, I did the dad thing of telling him that I loved him and all I really wanted from him was for him to be safe and happy. He was just really relieved I guess. Anyway he asked me to be there when he told his mother, which now that I think about it is probably why he came to me first. Now, she is a deeply religious woman. She wasn't always but somewhere along the line she turned from being just somewhat religious to being deeply devout and if I'm being honest, I couldn't really pin down when or how that happened. I'm not religious in the slightest although I do the occasional church-going and church-related functions to make her happy. Anyway when she got home I waited for my son to take the lead on when to tell her. It's when he told her that things went to hell. I don't think she really believed it at first, probably thought it was some kind of joke or something but when she realized it wasn't, she first started crying and then went into what I can only call a rage. He tried to calm her down and I tried to help to get her to not see this as the end of the world. But she kept going on about how this wasn't the plan for him and about grandkids and a bunch of other things. But she just kept working herself into some kind of frenzy. Eventually she went to his room and starts dumping his clothes and tells him to get out of the house. My son is bawling at this point, and I just completely flip out. I order him to go to my bedroom and stay in there. And I just unleash on her. I pretty much say what kind of mother is she and that I'll be 3 weeks dead and buried before I let him leave, and she gets angry at me for backing her up on this and that being gay is wrong and a bunch of other bull crap. Anyway, after a hell of a heated fight she leaves and goes to stay at her parents'. I try talking to my son. He's just devastated and blaming himself for everything. And I'm not sure what to do here. I let my son skip school the last couple of days as a kind of mental health day although I let him know that he will go back on Monday. I haven't spoken to my wife since that night, and I'm not even sure what I could or should say to her, and I'm not sure how to handle my son either. He's not the usual self and I don't know how to get him to stop blaming himself. He says he wants to spend the night at a friend's house which is fine. I figure his friends can offer different kinds of support than I can. But I'm at a complete loss. I think I did my best although writing this I realized that since I knew he was gay for a while, I should have tried to slowly ease her into the idea to make this less explosive or maybe if I stayed calm earlier I could have handled it less emotionally. I just don't know where to go from here or how to handle any of this. Edit. Wow everyone, thank you all so much for all your support. Some people have sent me various websites that I should look at which I'm slowly making my way through. As for my son, we haven't spoken since he left last night. As for my wife, I think I'm going to be waiting on her to make some kind of overture to speak at least through the weekend, give her some time and space to get herself together. If I don't hear from her by Monday, I guess I'll call her and try to figure out where to go from here. I'm still reading through everyone's responses. Thank you all again so much for your help and support. Update. I wish I had some kind of big update but nothing really. I didn't sleep much this week and I passed out shortly after posting the original message. I did talk to my son after I woke up. He got home sometime earlier today. He seems to be holding up okay, but you guys did put the fear of him doing something rash in my mind. I'm going to talk to him again and see what I can about finding some kind of family therapist to help. As for my wife, I decided to give her some time and space, at least until Monday. If I haven't heard from her by then I'll try to contact her and depending on what she says will determine where we go. I do want to make it clear that I don't think it will come to divorce or anything like that, but if the worst were to pass, I will choose my son. If it's a choice between him and anything else, he wins. He always wins. Some people asked about our location, which is Louisiana near New Orleans, and our faith, which is Southern Baptist. There also seemed to be some confusion about the timeline regarding when my son went to his friend's house. He went last night, Friday. Everything else happened on Wednesday. He does sleep over at his friends occasionally or bring his friends here. They usually spend way too much time watching movies or playing something on the PC or PS4. Also he is 16, I'm 39 and his mother is 37. Again I want to thank you all so much for your support. I promise I'm reading all your replies and will take any advice to heart. Just thanks again for everything. Update. Hello everyone. I wasn't sure if I wanted to post this update. I'm not one of someone who really feels the need to post everything about their lives on the internet, but some of you are so kind and supportive that I don't want to leave you hanging. I guess I'll start with my son. You all really put the fear of him hurting himself into my head. So I ended up talking to him about it in what I can only describe as the most miserable conversation of my entire life. I talked to him about how much I love him, how I always want him here, and he's the most important thing in the world to me and I don't know what I would do if he were gone. Then, I gave him one of my business cards. It has my work number on it obviously, but I also wrote my cell number on it in case he doesn't have access to his phone to remember what it is, but also had the number from the Trevor Project which someone is kind of enough to tell me about, as well the number from the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. I told him please put the card in his wallet and if he ever feels like he's going to hurt himself to please call me or one of those other numbers. He took it, said thanks, and he was really trying his damnedest to reassure me that he wasn't really thinking about anything like that. We only had one more real heart-to-heart conversation that same exact night actually. I was in the living room trying to find something to watch on Netflix or Hulu when he approached me. He kind of sat there for a while and then apologized for making me worry and for starting everything that's happened. I tried my best to shut that down as hard as I could. I told him he didn't have anything to apologize for, that nothing that is going on is his fault, that he was only doing what I've always told him to do, which is be honest with me, and that's what he did, and that I'm proud of him. I know I'm probably sounding like a broken record to him at this point, but I really feel like I need to hammer that home. I did bring up that I was thinking of us going to some family counseling. To be honest, I was actually expecting a lot of pushback here. That he would think I was trying to fix him or something. But nothing, he seemed okay with it. The rest of the night was really nice, just us watching TV together and just talking about nothing. The rest of the week with him I tried my best to keep things as normal as possible for him, just like how it would be otherwise. I really wanted to give him a sense of normalcy. Other than him spending a lot more time in the living room watching TV with me instead of in his bedroom, things are okay, I guess. He's still not himself, but he's more himself than he was last week. And I'm not sure if he's spending more time with me cause he wants to be sure I'm around, or he wants to reassure me, or if he just wants access to the bigger TV in the living room. A few of you did mention that I should do what I can to remind him that our house means it's his house too. So I told him to invite his friends to stay over this weekend, which they are. Actually, just dropped them all off at the movies a while ago. They are going to go watch something, then get something to eat afterwards and call me to pick them up. But yeah, I'm just trying to help him get to normal. As for my wife, things didn't go well. I did call her late on Monday after my son went to bed. I will also admit that while I do love her, I was also very upset with her. I was trying to give her time and space to process things, and I know it's not fair to get more angry with someone that you are purposely giving space to be less angry, but I was not happy that I was the one that had to do the reaching out first. But I tried put that aside and wanted to know where her head was at. I knew there were going to be things we needed if we were going to find a way to get past this. So I kind of made a list of them in my head. The first is we all needed to go to family counseling, and I had to be the one that choose who the counselor was. Next was that she had to find some way to get past the gay thing, whether it be therapy or prayer or whatever, I don't care, but she needed to find a way to just deal with it. And third, she needed to find a way to make it up to him, and again, I don't care how. I feel like this was a reasonable list. Anything else would be up for discussion, but I was going to die on those hills. And when we talked Monday, she agreed he needed counseling, however she felt we should go to one sponsored by the church. I told her that was off the table. I wanted a counselor who could be neutral and who I could trust when left alone with him. And we circled this point until nearly 3 a.m. So we decided to pick this up again on Tuesday, where we had the exact same discussion until very late in the night. And then we did all again on Wednesday. Wednesday night I told her that we needed to do this in person and finally get somewhere with this. So Thursday morning, I told my son I was going to be very late coming home, left him some money to order a pizza and told him that he and his friends could start their weekend shenanigans a day early if they liked. And then after work on Thursday, I went over to her folks and we tried to have this talk again. And we got nowhere with it. I just refused to go to someone I can't trust. So sometime later, I don't know, I guess I let go. I just gave up. I broke. I just couldn't freaking do it anymore. I just couldn't keep circling that freaking wagon anymore. I know you shouldn't make life-altering decisions when you've only had maybe 8 hours of sleep spread over about 9 days and none of it in intervals greater than 20 goddamn minutes. But I was just done. I just couldn't do it anymore. I tried, I really did. I really wanted to make it work. We were together since college and I do love her, but I just can't do it. I can't create a situation where my son could be hurt, especially now. I have to be there for him, someone has to be. So I said it's probably for the best that we stay apart and I would bring her the rest of her things over this weekend, and I left. I went to Walmart, grabbed some boxes, cried for about half an hour in my car, and then went home. I got home at some ungodly hour to find a couple of my son's friends asleep on my couch. I realized that when I told my son to invite his friends, I meant to spend the day, and he thought I meant to spend the night. I ordinarily don't like having other people's kids in my house during a school night, but whatever, I blame myself for not being clearer. I couldn't sleep last night, I was quite literally too tired to sleep. So I waited until the time my kid goes to school. Woke them all up, made them all breakfast, sent them all off to school, sent my boss an email taking a sick day, and then finally fell asleep for about 10 hours. Which brings me to now where I drove my kid and his friends to the movies. I've decided I'm not ever going to tell my son about some of the things she said when we were talking. I don't want to make him feel worse, and I do actually want them to have some kind of relationship in the future, and I don't feel any need to add poison to the well. As for now, I'm going to go do something to get my mind off things, maybe play a game or watch TV or just browse Reddit until I need to pick them up. I do actually want to thank everyone again for all your messages. I think I've read and reread every message a half a dozen times. It was nice to see so many good people. A lot of your stories were really heartbreaking. I'm really sorry you had to go through that. I wish you had someone in your corner. Everyone deserves someone in their corner. As one internet stranger to another, you are all really strong people. Edit to add. As for the people asking about getting a divorce, actually that's where it is going. I didn't put it in the update, but yeah. I'm probably going to contact a divorce attorney on Monday. I haven't figured out how to tell my son yet. But that's a tomorrow problem. I just don't want to think tonight.